Welcome to the Dynasty Pulse. Hello. Welcome to the Dynasty Pulse, everybody. I am Biggs. He is Grenberg, and today we're gonna run through some keep trade cut engines. We're just gonna keep refreshing, and we're gonna talk about some keep trade cut stuff. So let's see you at the end of this, producer.
Yeah, what do you want?
That's your cue to hit the intro.
Intro.
Oh, yeah, I got you good, didn't I?
Hey everybody, it's us. We are back once again, and Grenberg in the pre-show asked me a question that really had me thinking, and so he asked if I remembered our first encounter, and because he wanted to bring up the fact that I had long hair at the time, and so I was looking back through our DMs, which is where the first thing we found each other was in the other website that we used to write for. I was like, hey, I need a podcast guest. And he said, interested for sure. If I can swing it, when are you thinking and recording? That was his first message to me. And then I said, I'm available at all Pacific Standard Time times. When you have an hour, he said, tomorrow would be perfect. Pretty free Friday. And I said, okay, go ahead and give me a list of 5 guys to buy and 5 to sell. I'll pick one and we'll present the opposite side to yours. And also pick 5 power rankings, favorite thing to barbecue, favorite food categories, favorite dog breeds, beers, whiskeys, cocktails. We'll finish with your Power 5. It was a very early episode of the Fantasy Burn that never aired. It's lost in the ether. And that was August 23rd last year, and we've been partners ever since.
We've been grinding it out and building quite a empire, I'd say. Like, I mean, you've become my sidekick, my best friend in this space, and I appreciate the hell out of you, man.
We're empire builders is what we are.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like in 1 year, we've done so much, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for the Dynasty Pulse, because we've grown this show, and thank all our guests, thank all our viewers, especially our viewers, because we're building on 2 networks, and we're thankful for both the networks that are hosting our show and all the viewers on both networks. Thanks a lot. And yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's get Schulze in here.
Yeah, Schulze.
Hey,
Schulze.
I'm actually supposed to be here.
Schulze. So what are we doing today? We're gonna go through some keep trade cut, and what's the first one?
All right, up first we got Daniel Jones, Gino Smith, and Khalil Shakir.
Ooh.
Well, I'm going to lead this one off here, and I'm going to definitely put those names back on there because I've got a short memory. So I'm going to keep Daniel Jones for sure this year. I'm going to trade Gino Smith, and I'm going to cut Khalil Shakir. What are your guys' ranking on those?
Yeah, I'm keeping Daniel Jones, cutting Khalil, and trading Gino Smith for whatever value I can get for him.
Yeah, I think I got to agree. As much as Daniel Jones is icky, he's got some rushing floor, unlike Gino. And yeah, I think that I'm in lockstep with you guys on this one. So
that was too easy.
But let's talk about a little bit here about Daniel Jones though and his outlook, because he, we've talked about sleepers in the past on different shows and whatnot, and Daniel Jones hasn't come up yet, and he's a guy that I'm thinking will come up a lot in this offseason, starting to gain some steam now. And he's, a year removed from a top 10 finish. Do you think he finished quarterback 7, if I'm not mistaken, in 2022? He had close to 800 yards rushing that season. That's a stat that is, it's not up there with the most elite guys in the league, but it's a stat that got him in the top 10. And now he's got a new weapon in Malik Neighbors. They lost Saquon Barkley, but there's some upside here if he can hold on to that starting job. And some people think that Drew Lock might be that guy moving forward, and he could take that starting role. What are you guys' thoughts on that situation? Is Daniel Jones going to have another year of success? Do you think he's got a bounce back season, Biggs, ahead of him?
I mean, he has rushing upside, and the knock against him last year was basically the Giants' offensive line and the injuries. So, I mean, if he has, it's not out of the realm of possibility or out of the range of outcomes that he has a top 12 finish as a quarterback this year. And best ball, he's a real cheap stack right now with Daniel Jones, Malik Neighbors, and Wan'Dale Robinson, all at terrific values.
Dude, I love Wan'Dale this year. He is so forgotten. You got a guy who just can create in space, and now Neighbors is going to take attention. I think Wan'Dale's got some value this year.
Yeah. And they're losing the target and a target hog in Darren Waller too as well. I mean, he didn't play a whole lot last year, but Wan'Dale Robinson is positioned there that he could just. I heard on a podcast earlier today. I'm not sure which one it was. But they were saying that, he could see upwards of the same amount of targets as Malik Neighbors, but not, hit the same yardage and touchdown upside. And I don't see that being very far off there. I could see, Wan'Dale Robinson earning upwards of 90 targets this year. That's not outside of the realm of possibilities. And if that offense can surprise and get in some higher scoring games, they could outproceed their ADPs in a lot of these situations. So I like that call there. What's our next keep, trade, cut, boys?
Let's do another one.
Submit.
Boom.
And we got Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson, Caleb Williams. This is
juicy. This is spicy. Okay, who wants to lead this one off? Biggs, let's go with you, buddy.
All right. I'm keeping Bijan. I'm trading Caleb, and I'm cutting Joe Burrow.
I'm going to agree there, yeah.
Bijan he's an RB1, and at some point, given Christian McCaffrey's age, I'm not saying that Christian McCaffrey is going to fall off right now, but Bijan has a chance. He and Breece Hall both have a chance of finishing as RB1s at the end of 2024. That's pretty valuable. Caleb, not sold on rookie quarterbacks. However, he has so much value, and so I'd be trading him away. And Burrow, he could be QB5 again. He could be QB4, but I mean, this is F, Mary, kill. I mean, you gotta cut somebody, and I'm not willing to cut Robinson, and I can get more back for Caleb than I can for Burrow.
So here's where kind of like I'm gonna just to disagree a little bit, and it's not much here because I'm right in line there. I'm just gonna take Caleb over Bijan, and I'm gonna keep Caleb. I'm gonna trade Bijan, and I'm gonna cut just for the insulated value a quarterback will bring to a dynasty team, and especially a super flex league. I'm just gonna take that. I know he hasn't proven anything yet, but he's in a situation that's no quarterback has ever been, exposed to the weapons of talent that Caleb Williams has. And, he's 22 years old. He's got a lot of potential there. And I just think the insulated value as a quarterback, I'm splitting hairs there. I love Bijan Robinson this year. I think he's going to be in the talk. I slightly have Breece Hall ahead of Bijan Robinson in my rankings now. I just like the upside of Breece Hall. We're splitting hairs at that point as well. So I just like the insulated value of a quarterback in a super flex, and that's my only pushback on that. But Bijan Robinson is a you can't go wrong there. That was a really tough one. I really like that one. It made us all think.
Yeah, I think the biggest part for me here is that the path for Bijan to stay at the tier one of his position group for the next 5-6 years is completely there versus the other two is not as likely. Like, especially Burrow.
No, Canada.
No,
Canada.
Second goal for Argentina.
Joe Burrow has had the injury stuff. Caleb could very well be an elite fantasy quarterback, but he could also very well not. So I think what we've seen from Bijan, taking away Arthur Smith, he's going to be a tier one running back for time to come.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Not much pushback there. Let's head into the next one there, Schulze. That was a juicy one. Let's see if they can continue.
Juicy.
Not so much. We got Khalil Herbert, Chuba Hubbard, and Brendan Rice.
Okay.
All
right. Kick us off, Schulze.
Okay, for me, I think I am going to. Oh God, this is hard. I'm gonna cut Brendan Rice. I'm going to keep Khalil Herbert and trade Chuba Hubbard. I'm going to trade Chuba Hubbard, hoping I can get some value back to maybe like a Jonathan Brooks manager or someone who believes that Brooks might not come full swing right away. I'm keeping Herbert in the hope that he gets traded to somewhere where he gets used more, and I'm going to be out on Brendan Rice.
So for me,
interesting.
I'm like, this one is kind of a muffler, and I'm going to go a complete opposite direction. I'm going to keep Brendan Rice on this one. I'm going to pull that board back up. I think I'm going to trade away Chuba Hubbard, and I'm going to cut Khalil Herbert for a couple of reasons here. Khalil Herbert might be on the market of being traded, which could happen, but he's a 26-year-old running back. And he's going to get into a clouded backfield regardless. So I'm not in on an older, aging running back without a spot solidified yet. Chuba Hubbard there, I think, he's still only 25. He's coming off. He's in an offense that, yes, they invested a lot of draft capital in Jonathan Brooks. I love it. He's coming off an ACL injury, and I think that, Chuba Hubbard could still have some value there as especially earlier on in this season. And, he might play his way into a larger role. And Brendan Rice, I like where his situation is. He's in an offense that doesn't have a number one wide receiver outright yet. He's only 22 years old. And with wide receivers, we've seen they have the potential to make themselves get into spots. And I just like that situation. And he's got the Rice pedigree as well. Biggs, where do you stand on this one?
Well, I'm also going in a different direction. I'm keeping Brendan Rice because he has the best first name ever. And I'm going to trade Chuba because Chuba's a good first name. And I'm going to cut Khalil Herbert because while Khalil is a fantastic first name, it's not as good as Chuba or Brendan. No, I'm kidding. I'm keeping Brendan Rice. I think that he has an opportunity. If he can outplay Quentin Johnston, I think he can be a high value target for Justin Herbert for a long time. It's Jerry Rice's kid, man. And he's more athletic than Jerry Rice was. Khalil Herbert, I'm cutting. Just hate that backfield right now. I own so many Roshan Johnson shares, and nothing happened this year to give him any more value, but Herbert has even less. And Chuba, trading him just like Schulze said. I mean, he's young-ish. He's only 24, I think, and there's got to be a situation where he can put up some points somewhere. I like him more than Herbert, so I'm going to try and offload him.
So Biggs, we were exactly on line there. I think we hit the nail on the head there, both of us.
You did, and I think Chuba is the clear trade, and I see the other two flip flopping. It's just about whoever you think's got more upside, and I could see the path on either of those guys. But yeah, I'm out. I would trade Chuba mainly just because of the value you would get.
Get out of here, Herbert.
Peace.
Bye.
All right,
Justin
next one.
Fields, Michael Wilson, Luke McCaffrey.
Ooh.
Okay, let me lead this one off.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep Justin Fields. I'm going to trade Luke McCaffrey, and I'm going to cut Michael Wilson. And I just see this as a super flex, kind of league where quarterbacks reign supreme. And if you can ever get a guy like Justin Fields, who has still a potential of making that his starting job in the future, even though they've outright said that Russell Wilson is going to be their starter, and he will probably start the season, but Justin Fields could eventually work out a role down the line. And We've seen what he can do in a dynasty, not dynasty, but just in fantasy football in general. He is, when he starts, he's a top 10 quarterback, regardless of format. And when he's a starter, that's cut and dry. Whether he can sustain and hold that starting job is another complete story. But as far as value goes, he's got the most value to me in this group. Luke McCaffrey, I like Luke McCaffrey. I think he's got a very good opportunity in this new offense with the Commanders. I said it in our redraft show this week on the fantasy forecast that he was one of my sleepers headed into this year. So I'm pretty high on Luke McCaffrey. And actually, I was really high on Michael Wilson going into last year. So I like all these players quite a bit. But as far as value goes, I'm going to go with the quarterback and then the most upside in an offense there. And Michael Wilson is going to come into an offense too where is going to be surging, but he's going to be the number 3 option, and maybe Luke McCaffrey is going to be there too. But I just like his upside more, having the McCaffrey pedigree.
Yeah, it's ironic that we just talked about Brendan Rice and the fact that he's more athletic than his dad. Luke McCaffrey is more athletic than his brother, which is crazy. He's bigger, and the thing about Luke McCaffrey that kind of has me at arm's length is that he is a position switcher. He started off as a quarterback and only started playing wide receiver a couple years ago, so he doesn't have a whole lot of experience. It might make his entry into the NFL take a little bit longer than somebody who's been, playing wide receiver since high school and that kind of thing. So I am with you on the value of Justin Fields. He's the one that I would be keeping because were he to take over in Pittsburgh at any point, his trade value would skyrocket. And so I think you're going to get the most trading Luke McCaffrey. I think Justin Fields is the one to hang on to for more long-term value. Michael Wilson wasn't really a huge fan of coming out, and he didn't really have a big year. He's last season. He's got competition now from Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride and Greg Dortch, and so I'm not high on him again. So he's my cut. McCaffrey's my trade, and Fields is my keep.
I'm 100% agreeing here. You guys both nailed the super flex thing with the caliber of players the 2 receivers are and like how deep they are. You just don't find starting quarterbacks there. So the fact that we get one in this choice, it's a pretty clear cut one for me. I'm with you on trading McCaffrey for everything you guys said. And then I'm cutting Wilson as well, because when you're the big body receiver who doesn't really separate that well and your team drafts Marvin Harrison Jr., you're kind of screwed. Boom.
Yeah, like with Michael Wilson, what's his role going to be? You know what I mean? Like he's not like a possession receiver in the mold of like a Michael Crabtree. He's not the do-it-all that Marvin Harrison Jr. is.
Right.
Trey McBride is going to command a ton of targets. He came out as a 23-year-old rookie. I mean, just like there's not, he's tall, kind of a big slot situation maybe, but I don't know. He definitely has the least of the value.
There's ton of receivers in this class they could have drafted that would have left me feeling better about Wilson, and that's an obvious statement because it's Marvin Harrison Jr. But I guess like the typecast of receiver they are, pretty interfering there.
Yeah, let's roll it. Oh, we got
2 Chiefs here. This is going to be the Grenberg special. We got Travis Kelsey, Rashi Rice, and Keon Coleman.
Well, let me start this one off, and then go Schulze, and then have Mike take the anchor. So I am going to. Good Lord, this one's rough. You have like a senior citizen tight end, you have a behavior problem, and you have stone hands. Gosh. All right. I am trading Travis Kelsey. The only reason I say that is because I already have. And I think I got Rashi Rice in that trade. I am cutting Keon Coleman, and I'm keeping Rashi Rice. If Rice can get over his legal issues, I think he can. You know what? That one's hard.
This is really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta keep Rice and trade Kelsey to somebody who's hurting for tight end. Try and pump him up as like he's still got 2 good years left. And Coleman, I just don't see. Coleman probably has the best situation out of the 3, as far as like moving forward. But I just don't see the talent.
Yeah, I'm with you here, and I'm cutting Coleman as well. Not a yards per route run hero by any means in college. And then it's so hard between the other 2 guys because Kelsey's obviously going to be a stud, but for how long? But then I am with you on the Rice situation that even if he gets suspended, like and comes back, and it's just like a 6 or 8 game or whatever, like it's not going to change who he is on the field. And the way the Chiefs used him, I absolutely loved, especially him coming down the stretch. That the stretch run they had with him, throwing a lot of quick stuff to him, and now you got 2 field stretchers on the team. I like the spot Rice is in if he's on the field. So I think I'm with you here. I'm going to keep Rice because the value could drop obviously, but I think the amount it could go up greatly outweighs it. And yeah, I'm going to maximize the Kelsey value and trade him.
All right. What do you got, Mike?
I think this was a lot harder situation for you guys to figure out. This was more of a no-brainer for me. I think I'm right in line with you guys. I love Rashi Rice. I think he's definitely the keep there. Travis Kelsey is the trade, and Keon Coleman is the cut. The Bills laid their hand out. They could have had Xavier Worthy, and they didn't nab him. They needed to get that draft capital in the middle rounds of the draft. And I just really like the situation that Rashi Rice is in. They're not going to need to have as many design touches for him because these burners on the outside, like you mentioned, are going to open things up in the middle for both Travis Kelsey and Rashi Rice to see less double team. So I think this is going to be a very good situation for both those guys. Even with that suspension, Rashi Rice has proven enough in his rookie season, and it's going to be tough for Keon Coleman to emerge with. I just don't see it. I just don't see it with his hands. I just don't see it with his with his route running. I think there's a lot of polish that needs to happen with Keon Coleman. Yes, he's going to have opportunity, but I think Travis Kelsey's value right now is still very high. You can get a lot in the trade for him. And Rashi Rice has proven, and he's on a team that's ascending. And, the Bills are in a situation where they're going to be more run heavy this year. And I just don't think that bodes well for a guy like Keon Coleman.
Well, that's a sweep right there. Lock it in.
Yeah, get out of here, Keon.
All right, we got Irv Smith. What is it about the Chiefs? What is happening here?
Mm-hmm.
Irv Smith, Louie, Reese, Emmett, and Taj Washington. Okay, I think it's my turn to start. This is really ugly. No, I don't want to skip it because then I have to tell the computer I don't know who the players are, and I don't want to do that because we know who they are. We can't lie.
Okay.
I'll do it for you. I'm keeping Taj Washington. I'm cutting Emmett because I just don't see a path to ever playing meaningful snaps, and I'm trading Irv Smith for a crumb of bread.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I think I'd keep Emmett over Smith. I would be cutting Irv Smith because there's no path whatsoever for him to see playing time, in my opinion. And I think Emmett, well, as a Chiefs guy, he was a rugby all-pro. Like the guy, showed out on the rugby field. And yes, he's going to be a special teams guy, but he could maybe get a role. I don't know. That's just a clouded.
Thinking it through, I think you could probably sell someone on a trade for Emmett better than Irv Smith. Yeah. So maybe I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to Josh Reynolds.
Oh, I don't get to go?
Wide receiver. Well, do you want to? You didn't seem very interested. I mean.
What are you talking about? I was just researching.
Oh, no. It was Mike. He told me to skip it.
No, I didn't. You went ahead before even I got in on that one. That you like Josh Reynolds. I don't even remember the guys on the last screen because you were so click happy. Biggs, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm cutting. I'm cutting Irv Smith.
Yeah.
I'm trading away Taj Washington because somebody might think, oh, he's on the Dolphins, and then I'm going to go ahead and keep the rugby player just because maybe.
Yeah,
Just because
just maybe. Well, you never know, right? Maybe it's the Chiefs, and maybe.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah.
Now, his situation in that backfield, especially with Deneric Prince, my dude, emerging out of mandatory minicamp and OTAs as the backup behind Pacheco. I mean, but hey, in the Scott Fish Bowl kick returns, maybe the dude can put up some points for you.
He's going to be valuable in that scoring for sure.
Okay, next one. My dude.
Okay, we got another Chief. He's in the middle, but Noah Gray. You got Josh Reynolds, and then Biggs' man, Aiden O'Connell.
To me, this is an easy one. Biggs, you want to take it, or do you want to let me hit this one up first?
I can go third.
No, go first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut Noah Gray, and I'm going to trade Josh Reynolds because, as you can see by my headline there under my name, I'm the emperor of Aiden Stan. I love Aiden O'Connell. I think he has a path to a top 20 finish, and you could do worse with him as your third quarterback in a super flex. That's all I got.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, your starting quarterback versus a 29-year-old wide receiver and a blocking tight end.
Yeah,
right.
Let's get another like Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson.
Yes, my other guy.
This
one is fantastic.
Dallas Goddard and Gabe Davis. This is pretty good.
I'm trading Gabe Davis to Schulze. I'm keeping Derek Carr. And I'm cutting Dallas Goddard.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward path when you're talking about a quarterback in a mangled mess like this. You got a starting quarterback in a super flex league. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. As far as Gabe Davis goes, Dallas Goddard, tight end premium. This is not tight end premium, folks. So this is easily a Gabe Davis call on my behalf here. If it was tight end premium, things would be a little bit more open to the market. But as you may know, and if he's following my work, I'm not super high on the Eagles offense repeating their last 2 years prolific offense. I think they're going to have a change of the guard. I think they're going to score less points. I think they're going to still be a very good offense, but I think they're going to be a down year, and Dallas Goedert is going to be probably one of the guys that are going to suffer the most out of that move. So I'm out on Dallas Goedert this year.
This is a quarterback reign supreme one again.
I'm going to jump in. I was being sarcastic when I said I was going to trade Gabe Davis to Schulze. Gabe Davis would be my cut and Dallas Goedert would be my trade, just because Dallas Goedert is closer to being an asset at tight end than Gabe Davis is to wide receivers, especially with the narrative that's out there about how Gabe Davis is he's a best ball guy. He's not a dynasty guy. I think you can get more back for Dallas Goedert, even though he's, long in the tooth and all that. So that's my trade is Goddard, and my cut is Gabe Davis. Now, Schulze, what do you think about your Jacksonville Jaguars deep threat winner?
I would feel a lot better about Davis going into the season had they not drafted Brian Thomas. And I mean, I'm not like Brian Thomas is the dude's, I'm not like on the train like 100% yet. But the fact that you've just added another dude who practically is the same type of receiver is just not going to be helpful, especially when you're looking at a guy who is already boomer bust. To me, I'm keeping Carr. Quarterback is supreme, especially because we got super flex on. I could see the other two going either way. You make a really good point about Goddard. being like a premier asset, or not even premier asset, but like an asset that you're actually starting and relying on this season over Davis. So I could see him go either way. They'll probably come out pretty close, I bet.
I like as far as Gabe Davis goes, I think I just think with the struggles the Jaguars have had in the red zone the last couple of years, I just think there's going to be a regression there positively for Trevor Lawrence and that whole team as a whole. And I think that Gabe Davis is going to take a lot of that in the red zone, and I think he's going to be a threat there, and he could bounce back. And his name recognition, he could be the most valuable one in a trade for me at that stage. You know, coming off of like maybe you see him get a 2-touchdown game. That value could be, you know, spiking just based off his name recognition. A 30-year-old tight end in an offense that is going to be more run centric, in my opinion, with Kellen Moore there. I just see a Gabe Davis leaning there, but either way, I mean, it's pretty, you know, splitting hairs.
I can see that.
Consensus on the website has Dallas Goddard as the keep, which is interesting. This is a tough one here. We got Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, the Sun God, and Bijan.
Oh. Wow.
This is going to create some controversy in this room alone, I think. But I think with our viewers as well.
I don't even know where to start.
I'm going to go bold here because I'm keeping Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I'm going to be cutting Jamar Chase. And I'm going to be keeping. I'm going to be trading Bijan Robinson. I like the. I'm safer. I'm a safer play. I like the upside in Amon-Ra St. Brown. His 3 years in the league, he's only been better. You know, he had 1,600 yards last year. He had 10 touchdowns. I just see that offense just being resurgence. They're going to continue to build. I love Bijan Robinson this year too. He could be the RB1 overall. And not knocking Jamar Chase, but there's a lot more mouths to feed there in that offense. There's some uncertainty around Joe Burrow and his health, and that offensive line is shaky at times. And I don't know. I just see Amon-Ra as my guy, and I'm going bold. I see him finishing as the wide receiver 1 in 2024. And I'm going to say that on a bold take in one of our future shows. So just get in line for it. I just think that the opportunity is there, and that's just my take on the situation. I don't know where you guys all are on this one, but this is a tough one. This is a juicy one that we were all waiting for. Biggs, what are your? I want to hear your thoughts. Weigh in on this one. I'm thinking that you might have Bijan as your keep.
No, I would be cutting Bijan. I would be keeping Amon-Ra, and I would be trading Jamar Chase because he has the most tradable value. Which, you know, I wouldn't feel good about it at all. But that's what I would do.
Imagine being in that situation. This is
that would be absolutely nuts. Amon-Ra he's got the targets, and that's, you know, and that's what rules in fantasy. Jamar Chase is great, but T. Higgins signed his offer for the franchise tag, and they brought in Burton, and Josephus is there, and you know, Jared Goff knows what he has in Amon-Ra, and he's gonna exploit it, and it's gonna be the Laporta and Sun God show. And Bijan, sorry. I mean, the RB1 cut, but Jamar Chase is, you know, a lot of people had him last year as the wide receiver 1, and the people who were trying to be clever were saying draft him over Justin Jefferson, and turns out that they were right based on the injury, but not necessarily the performance. So, you know, he's the most tradable asset.
I am also keeping him on, which I thought like I was going to be the crazy one to say it. And then we all said it. Volume is king. This dude just what could he get 175 targets? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
It's insane. And then he gets the red zone looks. Like, they just constantly feed him Amon-Ra. And then even when they do, it's like you could tell the defense, hey, we're going to give it to him Amon-Ra, and they're still going to draw something up. He's wide open. He's wild.
Like, they were comparing him today on Player Profiler on the, I think it was, I'm not sure what show it was. I've listened to a bunch of them, but they were saying that he's like the next, like he's Cooper Kupp on steroids because he went on the inside, he can win on the outside, and he's just more athletic, and he's got that connection with Goff. I just really love that situation, and Amon-Ra is quickly becoming, a guy that you could just rely on year after year for the stability, and he plays through anything. And he's more driven than I think anybody there is in the NFL. Just the guy has got that work ethic. And with all the guys that got drafted ahead of him in that draft, he's got a lot to prove, and he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's playing like that. And I just really like that Lions team this year. And they're just an exciting team to watch. So I just for that fact alone, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And then I'm going to side with Biggs on the trading Jamar because the value is going to be a little higher, you would think, only because he's a wide receiver and he's going to, produce longer than Bijan is. That's what's supposed to happen, with your dynasty players. So, yeah, obviously this one sucks, but there it goes. Let's see what they say. Keep Jamar Chase, trade Amon-Ra, cut Bijan is what the consensus is at on that.
I mean, yeah, it comes down to a player preference thing at that point then. And most people would say that they value Jamar Chase higher. But, in a trade situation, I'm getting more back for Jamar than I am for Sun God.
Okay, we got Rashad, Bateman, Michael Mayer, and Bucky Irving.
Oh, well, that one's a no-brainer for me. You guys go.
Well, I can tell you I'm cutting Rashad Bateman because I've been a long-time Bateman hater, and so I'm going with the narrative here. Anytime you got a guy who can maybe break out in his year 4, you got to take him, right? So for me, I'm cutting Rashad. I am gonna, I'm gonna keep Bucky because I like him. I know he does a lot of the same things that Rachaad White does, but I'm also never been a huge Rachaad White guy. I think he's been mainly the volume dude, and without Dave Canales there, I don't think he's going to get ridden quite as hard. And I think Bucky could make a name for himself, and I'm trading Michael Mayer. I still love Michael Mayer. I don't care that they drafted Brock Bowers. Like, Michael Mayer is still freaking good. Like, it doesn't change that. And teams can run 2 tight ends. Newsflash, 2 tight ends can play on the field at the same time. So I'm going to keep Bucky just for a little bit of upside play, trade Michael, and I'm cutting Bateman.
Okay. I'm going to go probably the opposite of that, other than keeping Mayer in the middle there. I'm going to trade Michael Mayer. I still got some value there. I'm going to roll the dice on Rashad Bateman, even though he's been injury prone. I'm going to keep him based on the upside. I think he's still only 24 years old. He was a first round pick. There is some upside there, and Bucky Irving with his slow time. I don't like him behind Rachaad White, like you mentioned. Also, with the coaching changes, I think they're not going to ride their running backs as hard, which may keep Rachaad White fresher longer as well. So that's my take on the situation. Biggs, what do you got?
Well, allow me to before I start, take a sip from my Notre Dame cup, which I bought at a Notre Dame game where Michael Mayer scored a touchdown right under my Kenny Stabler ball in front of my Raiders flag. I'm keeping Michael Mayer, and I don't really need to say much more than that. He was one of the best tight ends in the last 5 years in terms of NCAA production. Rashad Bateman, I'm trading. I'm cutting Bucky Irving. I have zero hope for him. And I know a lot of people in the space do, just because he he's got some receiving potential, but athletically, I don't think it's there. I don't like the situation with Rachaad White in front of him because we know what we get with Rachaad White, who's a volume back that does catch the ball. And Rashad Bateman, I'm going to be banking on the fact that there's somebody out there who still believes in him that did not read the reports coming out of the OTAs this year that he is still trash. And yeah, so that's what I have.
And his foot is still probably messed up. Like, I don't think his foot's ever going to be totally fine.
You know, I mean, for his sake, I hope it does. But you know, that like, fool me once, shame on you, Rashad. I won't get fooled again.
So I'm going to keep Mayer here because he was the consensus one that we all liked the most. I'll leave Bateman trade, and you guys hate Bucky, so we'll cut him. See what they say down here, though. Keeping Michael Mayer, keep Rashad, trade Michael Mayer, cut Bucky. So, I mean, I could see that's a personal preference thing, really, with some of those guys. So,
yeah,
there's not a world, there's not a universe in this multiverse that I would keep Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I am so out on that guy. And they they just drafted his replacement, who also is very good, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I'm out on Bateman.
We got another spicy one to finish this out.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Perfect one to end on.
Got Chris Olave, CJ Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr. I know what I'm doing here.
Me too.
Me too.
Mike, what are you doing?
All right. We're gonna go with I'm gonna keep CJ Stroud. I am going to trade Marvin Harrison Jr. and I'm gonna cut Chris Olave. Okay, and just based off of quarterback, value in super flex leagues, CJ Stroud is there. Right now, a lot of guys are valuing him as a top 5 quarterback. Whether you believe it or not, he's there. Marvin Harrison, I think, has got the notoriety. He's got that upside as a guy that is a pedigree of Hall of Fame wide receiver, and he's shown those metrics that he could be the guy, and I think he's got the most trade value at this point. And Chris Olave, so some analysts think that he's gonna, break out this year. Same with Drake London and have a monster year, which it could happen. But I think the value for Marvin Harrison is just a little bit higher right now, without him having even played a snap. So I think I can get more out of that. And I think I get more out of CJ Stroud because this is a dynasty league. And that's my thought process behind that.
All right. That's fair. What about you, Schulze?
I'm keeping Marvin. I'm trading CJ and I'm cutting Olave. I'm keeping Marvin because he's Marvin and he's going to be a beast. I don't really think anybody needs much explanation there. However, I am trading CJ as I don't value him in the top 5 like most people do. So I'm going to capitalize on that market. He only had, I want to say, 6 games last year where he was a top 12 quarterback. He only had 1 game where he threw more than 2 touchdowns. He had a sub 60% completion rate in like 4 games or something like that. Like, it's not all sunshines and rainbows with CJ Stroud like everyone wants you to believe. He's now playing a first place schedule. I know he's got the weapons. He doesn't run. And if you're not going to run, you're going to have to.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not going to run, you're going to have to
throw the ball a lot and throw a lot of touchdowns.
Right. And so I'm lower on consensus there. I think CJ Stroud is going to be an elite quarterback for a very long time. I'm not 100% there on him being top 5 in fantasy. And then that just leaves Olave. He's just kind of the odd man out here.
Well, this runs butt up against the rankings show that we did quite a while back when we first revealed our 2024 rankings, and Mike had CJ Stroud much higher than I did. I am trading CJ Stroud away just because quarterback in the super flex is going to bring you back a pretty good deal, especially if it's somebody that people think is going to be a top 5 guy or, top 10 as a floor. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best prospect as a wide receiver coming into the NFL since Justin Jefferson, and I want that value on my team. And Chris Olave just becomes the odd man out. And, Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave, both products of that Brian Hartline, Ohio State University pipeline to the NFL. But Harrison Jr. takes it, and so I'm cutting Olave.
All right. So now we are going
on that one. What is the consensus on that one? Oh, we got Schulze with no mic. All right.
Keep CJ, trade Marvin, cut Olave.
Okay. I mean, that's another one of those where it was like, you kind of, it's both damned if you do, damned if you don't. And also like you win no matter what happens.
Right. Exactly. All right. So now our next segment here is we got some hot takes and we got some Dynasty hot takes, and we're going to talk to Schulze first. What is your Dynasty hot take for 2024? We want to hear it.
Okay. So mine is, we're going to Deontay Johnson. I have long time loved this guy. Fantastic route runner, gets himself open. The 1 year he had even decent, pretty, average quarterback play. 2021, he was the 8th receiver in PPR. Past 2 years with Kenny Pickett, not great, Bob. So looking back all the way, and I think, so my hot take with Deontay is going to be, he's going to finish top 15 this year in PPR. He has one 8th place finish, like I mentioned, but his 2020, he was 21st, 2022, he was 30th, 2023, he was 48th. Now, if you look at the targets, though, 2020, 144, 2021, 169, 2022, 147. He saw 87 this past season, but he only started 11 games, I think. So if you pace that out, it's still going to be a great number of targets over a whole season. Now, he gets going into the Panthers. He's going to have Bryce Young. Say what you want about Bryce Young. He's still better than Kenny Pickett, okay? Last year, Deontay saw a 68.7 catchable target rate, which gave him, that was good for 70th in the league. 70th. Pickett was throwing a catchable target 71.9% of the time, and that gave him 38th in the league. So Pickett was throwing poorly to everyone. He was throwing even worse at Deontay. And I can't even remember how many times watching, like, you just cheering for Deontay wanting to get the ball, and it's just a garbage pass to him. It's just so frustrating. But like I said, he's moving over to the Panthers. And then looking last year, too, Deontay averaged 5.71 yards of separation, and which was good for 20th in the league. And Bryce Young's receivers' target separation was 1.9 yards. So he's getting a guy who can get himself open. The dude who could get himself open on this team last year was Adam Thielen, who couldn't really get himself open. He just did it the best out of the group. You're looking at Dave Canales coming in, 2022 resurgence with Gino, 2023 resurgence with Baker Mayfield. I think not the sky's the limit, but you're only moving up here with Bryce Young, and you've got him a guy who can get himself open. It has legitimate talent and is going to get force-fed a crap load of targets, playing for a team who's probably going to lose a lot of games and have a lot of garbage time opportunity. I think bringing in Xavier Leggett is going to help him as well, because you've got big, tall, fast over on the other side that you got to respect. Like, whether Leggett is going to be a impactful fantasy guy or not, he's still got those traits that you're going to have to worry about. And it's just going to help Deontay more. I am all in on Deontay this year. I think he's going to be a top 10 PPR receiver. He's got volume, he's got skill, and he's going to have tons of opportunity.
I don't think I'd be surprised if Deontay Johnson led the league in targets this year. It wouldn't actually surprise me at all with what they had. Just look at what Adam Thielen did last year. Like you mentioned, he had how many targets? Well over 130.
Too many. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if Deontay Johnson is going to suck up the mass majority of those ones, I love to see it.
Yeah.
Biggs.
Well, I have a hot take that is along similar lines. My hot take is that George Pickens is going to finish as a top 12 wide receiver. Now, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens were receiver room mates last year. And although Deontay Johnson's targets were down due to injury, he didn't hit 90, I think, but he was averaging 150 in the seasons previous to that. And George Pickens is going to be the beneficiary of those vacated targets. Now, last year, just like Schulze brought up, Pickens was not playing with a good quarterback. Kenny Pickett was god-awful in terms of his catchable target rate or catchable ball rate. So was Mason Rudolph, and George Pickens kind of took the brunt of that. This year, Russell Wilson is coming in, and I've said on this show and other shows, and I'm going to get it wrong, but Russell Wilson had just as many catchable balls that he threw as Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett, but on 100 fewer attempts, but the same number total. George Pickens is going to be in position to catch the ball. The guy is a contested catch monster. He was 10th last season in deep ball rates, and we know that Russell Wilson can chuck it deep. Cortland Sutton would never have benefited if Russell Wilson couldn't throw the ball deep. George Pickens is going to benefit from that. And so I'm planting my flag on a George Pickens breakout. Every year, there's somebody who has never previously finished in the top 12 that finishes in the top 12. It happens at tight end, running back, quarterback to a certain extent, but especially it happens at wide receiver. 2 years ago in George Pickens' rookie season, he finished as wide receiver 48. Last season, he finished as wide receiver 36. You would think that, by those measures, he's going to finish as wide receiver 24, but I think he makes an even bigger jump and finishes within the top 12. Boom. Hot take. Certified. Hot. Ooh, it's burning. That's hot. It's a hot take.
Spicy, Biggs. That is a good one. I mean, you know me. I was the biggest combatant of a George Pickens breakout last year, but you've convinced me otherwise, and I'm well on that bandwagon now. I love what his talent is and what he can be, and with a competent quarterback, sky's the limit for those guys in the Steelers offense. So let's see what happens there. So for me, with adding myself back to the stage and talk about my bold prediction or my, hot take, if you will. And that's Anthony Richardson is going to finish as the QB1 overall in 2024 and become the consensus number one pick in Dynasty in 2025. And with his limited sample size in 2023, he showcased immense fantasy upside. His 2 full starts, he averaged 25.7 fantasy points per game. To put that into perspective, that's more than what Josh Allen, the top tier quarterback in the league, averaged. A full point less, actually. So moreover, Richardson led all quarterbacks with at least 80 dropbacks in fantasy points per dropback during that playing time. A significant portion of Richardson's fantasy production stems from his rushing upside. Despite playing limited time, he ranked 5th among quarterbacks in rushing yards per game and 3rd in red zone carries per game. Huge stats, and he's among the guys like Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, all whom finished among top fantasy quarterbacks in recent seasons. Richardson potential as a dual threat quarterback mirrors successful fantasy prototypes like those guys. Looking ahead in 2024, his outlook is even better. He's got people like Shane Steichen leading the way, and you know what he did with guys like Jalen Hurts and his resurgence. This high tempo offense averaged nearly 70 plays per game with Richardson behind center. In summary, Richardson's blend of rushing prowess, potential for passing improvement, and supportive offensive environment positions him for a front runner for the QB1 spot in 2024. I like him a lot. My bold prediction, like I said, is he's set to dominate fantasy football as the QB1 in 2024, fueled by his impressive rushing prowess, his promising passing game guided by Shane Steichen. With the Colts' dynamic offense and supporting cast, he's primed to be a top pick in dynasty leagues moving forward. He is my consensus overall pick in dynasty headed into 2025. Let's stamp it now. I am adding you guys back.
Stamp it.
Boom.
Stamp it. I don't know. I think he's got a lot of upside there. And if there's anybody that can, dethrone Josh Allen, I think Anthony Richardson can be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Someone's just been breaking down some film of him on Twitter and how like creative the QB runs have been under Steichen, even just the limited time. And yeah, he's unstoppable, man. As long as he stays healthy. Poof.
Yeah. And I don't think they're going to be needing to be as aggressive in running as well. Then now they have a downfield threat. They have, their running game back solidified. I just think they have a lot of opportunity there. I don't know if there's anybody going to be, holding fantasy relevance as far as, exceeding their ADPs as far as weapons around him. But as far as Anthony Richardson goes, I think he's poised for a huge season if he can stay healthy, like we all mentioned.
Yeah, it's wheels up on AR-15. Is that his number? I don't know.
It was in college, and actually he came out and was public about saying he does not want to be called AR-15 anymore because he's not about gun violence. So go Anthony Richardson.
I didn't call him that, so
that's awesome. Yeah, gentlemen. Well, this is the end of the Pulse for this week. What do we got next week? I think we've got a Fishbowl mock draft, and yeah, the Fishbowl is creeping up on us. We're about a month out, so we're gonna ramp up the content on the Fishbowl to get you viewers ready for it. I know that a lot of our viewers have got invitations because we are all diehard fans, and if you don't have an invitation, Biggs, tell the folks where they can, sign up and get the whole hoopla if you haven't done so already.
Go to scottfishbowl.com.
Boom.
Was that it?
That's simple.
scottfishbowl.com. Go to there. Then you want to click on sign up, which is at the top of the page. Create an account, and then go from there.
And don't forget to sign up with promo code BIGS.
Yeah, exactly. There's still 17% of the invitations are left to go out. So there's still a chance that you can get in it and play amongst the boys.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So for all of us here on the Dynasty Pulse for the Fantasy Football Plus Network, the Undroppables Network, thanks everybody for tuning in. For Schulze, from Biggs, from Grenberg, thanks for tuning in.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and all that good stuff. We hope you win.
We hope you win.